Let's try this again. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Yarn Junkie podcast. My name is Amber. I am coming to you from my home in Texas where I live with my husband, our 3 daughters, and 3 dogs. I did change my handle for a couple episodes to the Wool Pig. Never make any decisions while you're pregnant, big decisions, because I was worried about the Yarn Junkie name being too similar to a lot of other, there's a shop near me called Yarn Junkies. I say near me, it's like 3 hours away. And there's various different yarn, junk yarn and yarn hoarder, and I just thought that to be different that I would change it, but I'm Yarn Junkie. That's my name. It's been my handle for a while, so I'm just going to stick with it. I have been away for about 4 months. It's been 4 months since my last podcast, which is crazy. I have sat down to record this probably like 2 or 3 times, and just to talk about a little bit of life stuff right off the bat, because it has been 4 months. If you want to get to the knitting, just fast forward a bit. I had my baby, obviously, and she is the most high maintenance baby that I've ever had in my life. I have 2 older daughters, a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they were cake compared to this one. She had a lot of troubles in the very beginning. She was quite a bit jaundiced, and so the doctor was worried about her. And then she was having a lot of problems gaining weight and just not nursing efficiently. I met with doctors and lactation consultants and had her check for a lip tie and a tongue tie, which she got revised, and there was just a lot going on in the first month of her life, and then trying to establish a good pumping pattern, because she just wouldn't, after having to supplement, she wouldn't take to the breast at all anymore. And it is important to me to breastfeed. I mean, you do you, feed your baby however you feed your baby. This is not an argument from me. It's just, it was my goal to breastfeed her, and whatever means possible. If that means I had to pump, then so be it. And so that's been my life for the past 4 months, is pumping and feeding a baby and washing bottles, which I've never had to do. And she also might spit up. Just going to be throwing that out there. My other girls literally never spit up, ever. She spits up all the time. And I have talked to her doctor about reflux and stuff, and he doesn't think that's an issue for her. But yeah, she might spit up. I did make the little flower bow that she's wearing, but I did not knit her dress. A friend of mine actually knit this dress for her, but I did make her little wool pants that she has on. So this is my first FO. Her name is Ruby. I don't think that we ever decided on a name before we had her, and then she was a couple hours old, and Ruby was on our list of names, but my husband and I really couldn't agree on a name. And then I think he heard the song Ruby Tuesday, or remembered the lyrics to it, because part of the lyrics is who could hang a name on you. And so this is Ruby, my first finished object. She was finished back in December, right before Christmas, and so we had a really mellow Christmas at home, snuggling a newborn. Atrella, if you'll remember watching some of my previous episodes, I'd mentioned how my 12-year-old was very anti-pregnancy, anti-baby. She was just like, I can't believe you're doing this. You're going to ruin the dynamic of the family. And she did a complete 180. She loves this little baby and helps me take care of her. Ruby was Atrella was the first person that Ruby laughed at. And Atrella can just walk up to her and be like, hey. And Ruby just thinks it's the most hilarious thing. And meanwhile, I'm making stupid faces and noises, and she's just like, yeah, you're not funny, Mom. So Atrella has really helped quite a bit with her. She'll hold her and stuff while I'm having to pump, and play with her toys. Prudence isn't as involved, just because Prudence is still really little. I mean, she's 7, but it's hard to hold a baby, and she thought it was going to be easy, but Ruby is not an easy baby. She wiggles and squirms and screams if you're not holding her just right. So she has been a high maintenance baby, but that's okay, because we still love her. She was born with all of this hair, If you follow my personal Instagram account, which is 3 Lassies, you'll have seen I've shared like a picture a day at least of little Miss Ruby. And then on Instagram, my knitting account, or my yarn account, because I do more than knit, is _yarn junkie. So those are the places you can find me. I do have a Ravelry. I'm Yarn Junkie 6. There's a podcast group that I like never post in. But you can find all my projects and stuff under my Yarn Junkie 6 is who I am on Ravelry. Not that I do like project notes, but most of my projects do have a project page because I like to have like a little written account of that. So I will get into the knitting now that I've just chatted about her for 5 minutes. I have done a lot of knitting, so this one's going to be only about my socks. I've worked on other things other than socks in the past 4 months, but I just thought to keep it simple for my first episode back, I would just do socks. So these were long-term whips from 2016 that finally have pairs. The ends aren't woven in, but they are done. They have pairs. I can call them finished. I did these toe up. Actually, I did both pairs toe up, but one of them was a little bit tight on the bind off, and so I had to tink back and redo that, which was a hassle. But one is from the Nomadic Yarns in the Lupin colorway, are my husband's pair of socks, and then these, which is Quarry Fiber and Let's Dress Crazy, are for me. So that was an FO. I also finished both of these single socks, which were Halloween cast on. This one is Nomadic Yarns in the Practical Magic colorway. I love those colors. And then this one is Jinx Yarn in the Witching Hour colorway. And both of these I knit on 9-inch circs. I just knit a tube, switch to magic loop, and knit my toe. And then I picked up the heels and knit a afterthought heel on both of these, which I'm trying to go through this year and knit all my socks on different methods and different heels, trying to decide what I like best. So she started reaching out and grabbing things, which is a lot of fun because she can kind of be distracted instead of just sit there and cry. Some more finished objects that I have. This was my January sock. I have single socks only, you guys, because who has time to knit another sock when there's more socks to knit? So this was a very special skein of yarn that I'd been saving for a while. My mom actually picked this out of my stash when I first started knitting. On my time hop, I've been knitting 3 years this month. But side note, my mom picked this yarn out for me to knit her socks back in 2015. And then, if you don't know, she passed away in December 2015, and it was quite sudden. She was only 49. But so I'd been hoarding that yarn for something special. And her birthday is in January, and so on her birthday, I actually cast these on using a just spare skein of yarn that I had. This is the Dream & Color Smushy in the Blue Lagoon colorway, which I just feel like matches those speckles so perfectly. And I did the Blueberry Waffle socks, and I did 15 repeats because my mom's birthday is on January 15th. And I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. And then it just worked out where it was 15 repeats until I put in the toe. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's just the one sock. I don't have a pair yet, but I'll get to it. My February cast on, I did toe up magic loop, and I think I even switched these to 9-inch circs just because it's so much easier to knit on 9-inch circs and hold the baby than it is to do magic loop. So this was a gift yarn from Two Sisters Yarn Co., I think is the name of the yarn dyer, and it's My Bloody Valentine, and it was a gift from Jessica Ruth Knits, who is getting ready to have her baby. I can't wait to see what gender you have. I'm so excited. I'm like on baby watch. There's so many podcasters and knitty friends that have either recently had babies or are about to have babies, so yay babies. But yeah, I did a coordinating heel and cuff on this one, but then I just did an afterthought heel with the yarn on the heel. This is the Lolo Did It Folsome. I love her gray tonals. They're some of my favorite yarns. And I really want her Wildwood Flowers colorway. It's a new colorway that she just came out with. She told a story behind it on her podcast. It's about June Carter Cash, and I'm a huge June Carter Cash fan, huge Johnny Cash fan, so that's that sock. And then that was my February 1 sock. Here is my March 1 sock. And this is a sock blank. Let me see if I can dig it out of here. From Andre Sue Knits that I'd been hoarding. Just beautiful butterfly, and this is how it knits up. And I did the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern, and you can't really see it because it's so variegated, but I just kind of wanted a textural interest instead of just doing another vanilla sock. And I did the Eye of Partridge heel that's in that pattern. And yeah, I really like how the dropped heel fits my foot. So we'll see if I continue with that trend. Then everyone was talking about the Addy Flexi Flips. So I had to get a pair. And I knit these socks on those, which they're on another project right now. And I really, really enjoyed them on these, which is a Patons Croix sock yarn in the colorway Route 66. But I also tried to knit a little bit on these with those same needles, and this is a much thinner sock yarn, and I did not enjoy because of where the cord is. On all Addy needles, I've found this to be true. No matter the size, where the join is to the cord, there's like a catch, and it just is really annoying trying to like shove your yarn over that catch constantly. But I didn't find it to be an issue on this plumper Patons Croix yarn, and these are for Etrella, though I'm not going to give them to her yet because they are technically going to be her back to school socks. So another pair of socks that I knit, and this was the Rose City Roller pattern, was another Rose City Roller pattern. I didn't get Ruby socks. I've knit her 3 pairs of socks already, but they're in her drawer and I'm not digging them out. This is with the Mustache Yarns Dark Side EPV. And when I was doing these, I think that I've been slipping, when it tells you to slip a stitch, do you do it knitwise or purlwise? Because I've always done it purlwise, and I think that's wrong. Because this is the best Eye of Partridge heel that I've ever done, and I knit all the stitches, I slipped all the stitches knitwise. So I wore these to DFW Fiberfest. My other 2 girls have Mustache Yarn socks, and then I knit her a pair of Mustache Yarn socks too. So we were all wearing socks from Mustache, and I didn't even buy any Mustache this go around, but that's okay. She is drooling so much, like my whole arm is covered in drool. But those are all of my FOs. So as far as the socks that I've been working on, I have these that are in my Nomadic Yarns sock cube. And these are a pair for my husband that I was hoping to have ready today. Today is our 14-year wedding anniversary. That's insane to me. I cannot believe it's been that long, but it has. And this is, I showed you guys this yarn last time. It's a Cascade Heritage Prints from my local yarn store. I'm sure you can find it a lot of places, but if you can't, West 7th Wool has it, and they do call-in orders. So you could say, hey, I need that Heritage Print color number 54 mailed to me, please, and they will. So I'm just doing a sock tube, and I'll pop in the Afterthought heel probably here. And I'm almost to the toe. I've been working on these when I pump mostly. So this is my pumping project. And I have a cute little VW bus progress keeper from Knitted by Nature on here. I really love VW buses. And so that's another sock whip. And I cast on my April socks. Technically the rollers could count as my April socks, the Mustache yarn. But I did another cast on. These are very Eastery. and kind of out of my color palette. This is yarn that I picked up in California when we went back in 2016. It's really minty, and I've been really drawn to mints lately. Like, I don't know why, but I just love the colors. And this is the Anya sock pattern, which is also by the same designer behind the Rose City Rollers. I can't think of her name. Mara Catherine Briner. I think that's who it's by. Don't quote me on that. But I really am enjoying this little textured panel in the front, and it's got garter on the sides and then just stockinette around the back. And I also really enjoyed the way she tells you to do your cuff, which I can't talk too much about because it is a paid pattern. But you should definitely go check this out. It's a lot of fun to knit. It just provides a little bit of textural interest as you're knitting. And because it's April and Easter just passed, I have a little bunny. She's got my yarn. A little bunny progress keeper on there that I got in a swap from Candace of the Pin Feathers and Pearls podcast. Sorry, it took me a second to think of her name. Mom brain is a real thing, like lack of sleep and all the things makes your brain not work. So I also cast on for a pair of Christmas socks, and that's in a bag that I showed you guys last podcast. My little llama with the Christmas tree. I love this, and I have jingle bells on it. And I thought I should get going on my Christmas knitting because I want all 5 of us to have fresh Christmas socks for this Christmas. So these are going to be for Prudence, and these are in my little DPN cozy from the Gnome Knitter, but I got this from a swap with my, why do I only know Instagram handle names? Knitter Mama 7. Robin, that's your name, Robin, Rockin' Robin. Yeah, so she sent me that, and she was actually like one of my very first swap partners way back in the day. So here is what I have going on Prudence's Christmas sock. I'm knitting, all of my socks are knit on 1s or 2.25 millimeter, and I'm doing DPNs on these because, again, I'm trying to decide what's my preferred method. These, I only can work on them after she goes to bed because I'm terrified of stabbing the baby with DPNs. And that would be true with even carbons or anything like that, but the signatures are super sharp, so I only work on these when she's sleeping. So this yarn at the top is leftovers from Cascade Heritage in one of their Christmas colorways. I knit a pair of socks for Prudence 2 years ago, and then the green is a Knit Picks Highland that I've had in the stash for ages and ages, but I just thought that would be a really fun pair of Christmas socks. I'll do the heel and toe in the red as well. And I've really enjoyed working on these so far. I do like the signatures, but I don't know that DPNs are my favorite way to knit. It's the way I learned to knit socks, but I think that I prefer, really, right now, 9-inch circs, just because I can do it whenever, and I don't have to worry about her grabbing, like on Magic Loop, you know, I worry about her grabbing the cord and yanking my stitches off, which she's tried to do a couple of times, or poking her with DPNs. So even the little flexi flips that I'm knitting with these socks, and this is a Fawn Knits project bag that she did a special for 2 years ago, and she's about to have a baby too. I'm so excited for everybody having babies. These little flexi flips are a lot of fun, but again, I worry that if she makes a sharp movement, even though they're not as sharp, she'll poke herself and then cry, which will make me sad. So I try not to use those. And the last project that I've been working on, well, I won't talk about that because I'm running out of time. She's already getting kind of fidgety and fussy. I will talk about my basket over here. So I got my basket and I put in a bunch of sock yarn to knit socks for 2016. Or, oh my god, I'm 2 years behind, 2018. And I went to DFW Fiber Fest, and I was really good, and I didn't get too much yarn. I picked up a few skeins from Suburban Stitcher, but I completely bypassed Jinx yarn until I came home, and I was going through and putting away some socks, and I have these 3 pairs of socks that I knit out of Jinx yarn. This was my last whip that you guys saw, and I finished while she was nursing and just being a little tiny baby, and it was so cute. But so I had these 3 finished pairs from Jinx, along with this one that will be a finished pair soon. So that's 4 pair. And I thought, oh my gosh, how fun would it be? And I had these 2 in the basket already, which are both Jinx, Dark Unicorn and her Gingerbread House colorway. I was like, how fun would it be to have a whole box of socks that's just Jinx yarn socks, self-striping. So she was putting her stock from DFW Fiber Fest on Etsy, and I went on and ordered a few skeins because that's what you do. So she had this one that debuted at Fiber Fest, and I didn't get it because, again, I was trying to stay away from single skeins of sock yarn because I have a lot. But it's called Fox, and the girls and I have been listening to the Harry Potter audiobooks anytime we drive. And so it's Fox, F-A-W-K-E-S, as in Dumbledore's Phoenix. And it's a gradient self-striping. Loved it. And then I got Interstellar is a colorway that, again, Candace from Pin, Feathers, and Pearls knit up. And I don't know that it's a gaming reference or the movie Interstellar reference. And I'm in love with Matthew McConaughey, like fellow Texan, amazing actor. I love him. Knowing Jinx, it's probably a gaming reference, but I'm going to go with that movie. That's a movie reference for me. And so I had to get this on Sparkle because space. And then her sketchbook colorway, which I had seen that she brought it back, and I really loved the idea of the light to dark gradient and really needed it in the stash. And so I went ahead and picked up her pin too when I did all that online ordering. So instead of getting all of this in person and not having to pay shipping, I waited until I got home and then had to pay shipping. But that is all I have time for today because I don't want the baby to blow out your eardrums and start crying. But so those are all the socks I've been working on. I hope to record again in about a week or 2 and show you some of the sweaters that I've been working on. And until then, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you guys are doing lots of knitting and that y'all enjoyed meeting little Miss Ruby. Say bye. Say bye. She is so much fun. I love having a baby, even though she is so high maintenance and grumpy. And grumpus. You're a grumpus. Alright, bye guys. Thanks.